Are you on a healing journey? Are you trying to set boundaries but you're actually a people pleaser? Are you trying to do my way or the highway but you're not even sure if your way is the right way? Are you trying to elevate but you're not ready to drop old habits? You are me and I am you. I'll be covering several topics this season, including body dysmorphia, mental health on social media, and the healing journey. And if I don't know the answer to your questions, my guest surely will. Hey guys, and welcome to The Good Space with your girl Leo. Today's episode is about mental health and navigating your 20s. As always, I will start off with some questions from you guys. So, question one is, what is your comfort show? Everyone knows that my comfort show is My Wife and Kids. I literally talk about it all the time. I know that reference all the time, like literally, I know all the lines. For a lot of people, I know Tisha Campbell's like the standout, but it really is Damon Wayans for me. He just has the type of humor that I love, and I unlock a new joke every time I watch it. And also, I feel like it's the type of marriage that I want. Like, it's just the type of everlasting love where it doesn't get boring. And yeah, I love it. It makes me happy. Um, Okay, question two. What else do you do for comfort? Music, music. Like, and it really ranges. Like, I will literally go from like 90s R&B to Afro beats to Ghanaian old school hip life to The Weekend to like musical theatre, like anything. Like, I just love music in all forms. And I just I honestly have like such a respect for artists because the way music can literally heal you is incredible. Yeah, I love music. Question three, what is the biggest misconception about you? Mm, I think, and this is I feel like the biggest misconception is that like I'm always happy and good vibes, like 24/7. And I feel like some certain people are going to hear this and be like, absolutely not. That is not my misconception. I smiled at you once and you growled at me. And like, literally, that is five. Like, that would mean you would have met me at a bad time. But for most people, that is literally their biggest misconception about me, that I'm always like, it can be quite draining, I think, because when you're not like that, 1 out of 10 times, people just assume something's wrong. But it's like, no, I'm just tired. Yeah. And I feel like also it kind of puts a label on you because as much as I love to be that person when I'm around others, I'm also working on being that person for myself. I feel like if you're always giving that energy to other people, at the time you get home, you're drained, you're tired, and you don't really get to be that person for yourself, that cheerleader, that ha 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 da da da. So yeah, biggest misconception is that I'm always like that. Yeah. Right. So as I said, this week we are discussing navigating your 20s. I feel like 20 is a crazy age range. Like, the difference between 21 and 25 is just insane. Like, my brain at 21 versus my brain at 25. My brain at 25 versus my brain right now at 27 is incredible. I think you do so much growing in your 20s. But then there's also like this misconception that this is the year you're meant to have got it all together. But it's the year you're growing. It's the year you start to realize what you like, not based on what other people have decided for you, all your life. So I just think it's a bit mad to expect us to have it all together in our 20s. And of course, I know, and I think, again, what makes it so crazy, there are people who not necessarily have it all together, but are doing big things in their 20s. So then the other half of us who are maybe still figuring it out, we get a bit confused. Like, there's people getting married, having children, making millions, like just, starting businesses, all sorts. And you're like, okay, but I'm still just, my frontal lobe is developing. I'm still trying to work it out. And that's fine. I think that is what most 20-year-olds are doing. And obviously we just see the highlights of other 20-year-olds and think that is what we should be doing. Yeah. I also think your 20s should be, obviously your whole life, but your 20s should be for living your best life, making mistakes, finding out what living your best life is for you, by the way, because I feel like sometimes people think they have to do certain things. E.g., if your best life is going clubbing every weekend, that's you and you enjoy that. And if it's not, that's also fine. If your best life is solo traveling, or if your best life is staying underneath your covers in your bed, that's fine as well. Don't feel pressured to like live a certain way to show that you are living. Just do what makes you happy. So be selfish. It's okay to still be at home. It's okay to still be finding yourself. It's okay to still be trying to work out your career goals. Just be selfish with whatever it is that you're doing. I'm going to share 3 tips that have changed my mindset in my 20s. So I think tip number 1 is what I've touched on briefly. It's just realizing that you don't have to have it all figured out. It takes such a burden and pressure off you once you realize this, and once you realize that nobody has it figured out too. Like, you don't need to be in competition with anyone but yourself. Like, when I speak to most people in their 20s, when we start having a deep chats, most of the anxiety comes from not knowing what they're doing, or not knowing what they want to do, or what their purpose is. First of all, when it comes to purpose, talk to nobody but God. That I will stand by. But just take that pressure off yourself. It will all fall into place. As long as you are making those mini steps, as long as you are doing something, eventually it's going to manifest. It's going to become whatever your life is supposed to be. 2 is, I feel like, realizing that some aspects of your life are out of your control. So whatever you believe in, whoever you believe in, me personally, I believe in God. I believe that he controls what happens in our life. And I believe that certain things are just completely out of your control. For example, like death and taxes, they're out of your control. There's nothing you can do. You must pay them, you will die. That was really morbid, but it's reality. What you can control is your reactions to things and working on your resilience. You know, literally, as it's a cliche, life is a roller coaster. We know it, but then when things go downhill, we act like we don't know it. Some of us, you know, we go into ourselves, and we forget to persevere and to keep pushing. And, you know, sometimes we'll say things like, oh, life never works out for me, and things along those lines. You know, those things that you say to yourself, and you're feeding into your negative thoughts. I think that is what we can control. Definitely sometimes things happen, and it's okay to take time to heal from that, and sometimes it's okay to even feel sorry for yourself, but there has to be a cap, and then we need to decide, okay, what are we going to do next? As life has downs, it also has ups. So remember that as well. Everything is seasonal. It will get good again. So when you are going through that dark period, and you know what I mean, that dark period where everything feels crap, everything feels dark, everything feels hard, just try and be resilient, but also talk to the people. Like, that is one of the smallest things that have made a massive difference in my life. Just being able to talk to the people around me when I'm in those dark times. I feel like it's a lot easier for them to pull you out. You don't have to go through it alone. Tip 3, use your 20s to decide who you are, and be absolutely clear in that, and do not waver from it. Like, don't let external influences allow you to waver it. I will have like an episode on mental health and social media, but just to touch on that briefly, I do feel like sometimes I'm speaking to people, and it's very obvious that their thoughts of what their 20s should look like solely comes from what they've seen from social media. And if you continue that way, you will get those things and still not be happy, because you'll realize it's not what you truly want. So definitely take the time to decipher what your definition of happiness is. And once you've decided that, stick to it. Of course, you can change your mind, you can grow, but just make sure it always comes from you and not what you think other people want for you. So this can be regarding like money, relationships, anything like that. If you know you're someone, so an example, if you know you're someone who is genuinely from the bottom of your heart satisfied with like having, I don't want to use the word average because I feel like it's kind of got negative connotations to it, but I mean average in the sense of percentage wise, like literally like the average, like the average income, the average job, the average house, like in that sense. If like that is what makes you happy, don't start chasing other things because you're seeing people who want the other things, if that makes sense. Like, just literally decide what would make you happy. It's even the same with a relationship. If you've got someone and everything they do makes you happy, they tick all those boxes for you, don't allow other people to get into your head about certain things they do not do, because that's what they want from a partner. So just be very clear about defining your happiness. Cool. So yeah, those were my 3 tips. So like I said in my previous episode, I went through a period, and like I said, 20s are for finding yourself, chopping, changing. I've had like 100 career changes, but I decided that I wanted to be a therapist. I think you can tell from the good space, especially if you're someone who's watched and listened for a long time, like for the past 2-3 years. You will know I'm very passionate about mental health, and I'm a very big advocate for therapy. So I felt like, yeah, we need more therapists, and we need more Black therapists. So it was definitely a journey I wanted to embark on. And I started that with a course in psychodynamic and humanistic therapy. And as much as I really did enjoy it, it was amazing. And I even have more respect for therapists because they go through a lot. And it's very expensive. We need to talk about how it's unfortunate that it is so expensive to become a therapist. Like, if you look at a master's degree for, for example, marketing, business management, and then you look at a marketing degree for like any therapeutic, what's the word I'm looking for? Um, any therapeutic degree, anything to do with the arts of therapy. I don't know what I'm saying. Yeah, anything to do with that sector. It's literally triple, and I'm not over exaggerating, triple the price to do a master's. So I do sometimes feel like it's geared at a certain demographic. So like older people who definitely have like that disposable income to do the masters. It's really hard if you're like a young person like myself who's trying to save for your future to embark on that journey, because as I said, it's triple, and the student loan that you get for masters does not even touch the price of the course. So that was definitely a factor. One I think that was the main factor, because there's other things like, oh, how long it takes, and again, as I said, your mindset changes so like drastically, because now, like, I don't care about time anymore. If something takes long and I want to do it, I'm going to do it, because regardless, those years are going to pass. Whereas at the time, I think I was freaking out about my age and not knowing what I wanted to do. So I was like, no, this is going to take too long. So that was another reason. And then again, it kind of ties back to money. Not only do you have to pay for that course, but you have to pay for other things as well. So it's just really expensive. And of course, as I said, why I feel like it's geared towards like a older, middle class, upper class demographic is because it's going to be really hard to do those things, the extra things, pay for them, and then also be working if you are working. So yeah, it was a lot. So that is why I personally stopped. It doesn't mean I'm not passionate about the subject. Yeah, I don't regret doing the course. I would definitely say that I learned so much about myself. The power of journaling and how to journal. There's actually a technique to journaling. I thought I was should just be writing things down, but I'm so grateful. And when I look back at my video journals that I did during the course, it's so beautiful to see the growth, and the things I was scared of, they never came true. So it was like, so that was great. And also, I met a lot of amazing people, and I met a lovely girl in that course, who also wanted to become a therapist, and she's actually stuck to that. And we had so many conversations during it, like how I'm having with you, in regards to the price and how it felt like, I don't know what I'm going to do, how am I going to do this? And it's nice to see that she persevered, and she's found a way to make it possible for her. And it kind of also solidifies what I'm saying about, don't worry too much. If it's for you, it will fall into place and it will be fine, like it has for her. As long as you are making those mini steps, if it is for you, it will be for you. And if it's not, you won't care, because it's literally not for you. It's like, for me, it wasn't for me, but it doesn't bother me because I have found what is for me. So hold on to that little bit of hope if you're someone who's struggling with the career path right now. Friend who I'm discussing, she has kindly agreed to share signposting websites to let you guys know where you can access any mental health services near you, and they are free or very low cost. I spoke about this in another episode where I was talking about the healing journey and how I would definitely advise whether it's therapy, counselling, some sort of therapeutic service alongside it, especially when you're unpacking and unraveling certain parts of your trauma. It can be really helpful to have something alongside to help you. But I also recognize that therapy can be very expensive and inaccessible for a lot of people. I reached out and she has offered to give a list of signposting. I also just wanted to let you guys know about social prescribers. Your local GP can refer you to a social prescriber. A lot of people don't know about this service, and I'll be honest, not every GP offers this. It is something they are trying to expand, but definitely check if yours does. What they do essentially, they refer you to local mental health services in your area, depending on what the issue is. Obviously, if it is something that will require therapy, counselling, they can refer you to that. But sometimes, especially if it's something to do with your well-being, it can be activities near you. It can be, for example, like bereavement groups, financial issues or debt or housing. They can also refer you to someone to help you with those things. So if you're struggling, a social prescriber will basically sit with you and let you know where in your local area you can get help for this particular issue. And it's 100% free of charge. So if you're someone who's isolated, like, they can help you find a local befriending group, and it will be something with common interests. So something like a gardening group, a book club, or an art class, which I think is it's amazing. I think after COVID, a lot of people were suffering with feeling lonely and isolated. So it's nice to know that these services are available free of charge. They can signpost you to a service that can help you manage debt, or if you need to claim. Sometimes people don't know the things they're entitled to by the government, and they can help you find these things without the stress of trying to work it out yourself. It even goes as far as, like, if you have, let's say, high blood pressure or any sort of physical issues, they can signpost you to something that will help with that. So it's attached to your GP. As I said, it's NHS, so it's free of charge, but a lot of people do not know about it. So I wanted to let you know about that today. I think it's important to note that the social prescriber makes a personalized care plan with you. So they focus on what you need, what your issue is, and what third parties can help solve that. And they sit with you and go through that plan. So it's catered to you. It's not tick box. It's not, oh, okay, let's do this. No, it's catered to you, what your issues are. So if you have multiple, each of them can be addressed. I think that's a great service to have on the NHS. So definitely check that out if you're someone who's struggling with any of the things I mentioned and more. Just check out the website, and I will link everything in the description, and I will also share the other services that you can use for free if you're struggling mentally. So hopefully that was very insightful. I think it is unfortunate that a lot of us are unaware of these services and think we have to struggle alone or fork out quite a bit of money in order to get help for our mental health or well-being. If you have any questions regarding what I've spoken about today, so whether it's about navigating your 20s or my tips, I can answer those, or it's about social prescribing, I can definitely get someone to answer them for you, and I can share that in another episode on an Instagram post or a TikTok. Make sure you follow me on social so you can get the answers to your questions. Thank you for tuning in today. I hope you have learned something about yourself, something that you can hopefully apply to your friendships or to your healing journey. If you have any questions for me or my guest, make sure to leave them in the comment section below. If I do not know the answer, I will make sure to find someone who certainly does. Make sure you subscribe so you can tune into the next episode where I'll be covering another exciting topic.